Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Viewers of Gunjur TV Online, welcome to another episode of Straight Talk with Sulayman Ben Suwareh. Ben, welcome.
Ahmed, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much. Welcome again for honoring our invitation for another episode of Straight Talk with Sulayman Ben Suwareh. So as usual, Ben, I will let you introduce yourself to our new viewers. I know you are no stranger to Gambians now, wherever platform they may come from, the background they may come from. But for routine's sake, just introduce yourself to our viewers. Then I will give a brief update about COVID-19, just about Gambia this time, and then we'll continue from there because we have only 1 hour to discuss a lot of issues. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed. Thank you for giving the opportunity again. I am Suleiman Ben Suwareh from Bakau, Sancheba, and presently living in the United Kingdom, in Birmingham. And I am social justice activist and a political analyst.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ben, for that brief introduction. Today, inshallah, we should discuss about the happenings in Mali and what that means for the Gambia, because just a week ago, there was a proposed, I'm not sure if that happened or not, but military exercise in the Combos, which you raised some alarms about that. So when I hear this incident in Mali, I have to admit I was like scared to that. And one of my ladies' friend also, she's very worried. But you will dilate on that. And also, Serakunda Hospital is now designated purposely for COVID-19 treatment and the implication of that with other major illnesses. And also there have been incidences. In fact, a couple of them I know of. The burial team going to North Bank region have issues crossing the ferry. Peter Gomez confronted or interviewed the director of ports about this. He said it was a mishap which will be solved, but unfortunately happened again yesterday. So Gambia's situation as far as COVID is concerned, the latest information we have, they carry out 309 new tests and 113 were positive. And these represent 37% positivity rate. And for Gambians to understand, this is one of the worst positivity rates you will get anywhere in the world. So what that indicates is that only people who are sick, for medical help, have been treated. And I base this on the high positivity rates. But also, if you go to the website, one significant report that was written in the footnote, not many people will take note of it, was the contact trace. The contact trace was 0. So that means these people don't have the capacity to go and trace the contacts of these positives. Could you imagine that? Like today, yesterday we have like 244, I don't know, day before 184. So the contacts of those people are not being traced. So say only today there are 113 people. If you said all these people have contact with only one people, which is impossible because we know how life is in Gambia, how we live socially. So for 113 positive, their contacts are not being traced. That says it's a disaster. And Gambians, I hope you will understand the challenges facing us. So that's what we have for the update about COVID in the Gambia. And so far we have 81 dead. That's 4 more dead from yesterday. And that's that. So I will let Ben get into this program from any of these 3 topics where he wants to start, either from Mali or from the burial teams issues or the Serakunda post.
I think we can end with Mali. Let's continue with the COVID, then we end with Mali.
Mali, okay, brilliant. Yeah, so Serakunda Serakunda Hospital, anyway. One of the issues Gambia have, one of the weaknesses of Gambia, combo, that's where everybody wants to stay. But when it comes to vital infrastructure, is severely underinvested. Like there's no proper hospital. If I say Combo Santo from say Bakau onwards, there's no major hospital. So the biggest one now is being converted completely to COVID. What does that mean for other illnesses? And who are making these decisions? Because I listened to the interview of Director of Health Services. He
He
was
was
not
not
even
aware.
aware
Yeah.
when we posted this two days before. And yes, that's another thing. And also the data that have been posted on the website, he was not even aware. That was on the 17th. He thought there was a report on the 15, 16, 17, and 18. He don't even know. So Ben discussed the implication for other illnesses around the combos. You know.
Um, Ahmad, I think we should start with the failures. It's a
Okay.
complete failure. And it's
Mm.
amazed me that the politicians, the opposition are keeping quiet about this major failure. The lives have been lost. They should not have been lost. And we don't even know where we're going from here. The parliament that represents the people is in absence here. Literally, they are on holiday. I know they will tell you that no, they're doing their work at home. It's not true. It's not true. What stopped them going back to parliament where they can be effective? Now, Ahmad, let's just reference what the director of medical services have said. He is completely out of the loop. The country, there's no sector in that country that works because of the fish rot from the head. And I keep on telling Gambians, if we continue to have Adama Barrow as our president, it's a national security concern. Adama Barrow as a president is a national security concern. The majority or the most critical sectors or the most senior people, most of them leading the critical sectors, they don't care about the people. They are all after what they can get from their workplace. It's not what they can do to change the lives of people. That's a fact. I'm not going to mince my words on that. It's evident. Because of the fist rot from the head, Adama Barrow is behaving the same way. He doesn't care. Call me just one ministry that functions in the country. One ministry that functions in the country. It's literally impossible. Now, let's concentrate on this COVID. How many billions been spent on this COVID? And we found out, and we've been saying it, the system they have in place, they don't have a plan, they don't have a strategy to deal with this. Literally, they went out there to spend the money where they can access the money. They went on procuring services that were not essential, but they procured the services that they can have their kickbacks and steal the money. And they are incompetent as well. This is the problem we have. It's not only corruption, they are incompetent. Just imagine, why do we have to convert Sekunda Hospital now? Didn't they have a contingency plan? Didn't they not know? Or try to guess, inform, estimate based on information from the World Health Organization and our neighboring countries. They should have known by this time of the year, things might, unless something was done. And they knew they haven't done much. As the government didn't do much, as the Ministry of Health did not do much. And the proof is here. Neban Clinic was supposed to serve as a treatment center. Mr. Bitey referenced Neban Clinic saying it's still under construction. Yes, because of they were never intending to finish the construction. The area I marked by TAF was finished. Why did they finish Neban Clinic? Why they never thought about all the alternative centers throughout this world? What they did was to convert conference centers to medical facilities. Why they never thought about it? Why they went on spending money in hotels? Why did they decide to spend money in hotels? That's a complete failure. They never thought about an escalation plan. That's a complete failure. Now to hear the director of medical services don't even know some of these things. He doesn't even know what the latest figures are. He don't even realize that figures have been released. He did not even realize that a major decision has been taken to convert, and still he's not sure of exactly what's going to happen with Serekunda Clinic, hospital. Now, if the director of medical service don't know, who knows? And I will warn Gambians to be very careful, to be more cautious, because these cases are underreported. These cases are underreported across the board. Ahmad, it does not make sense to deal with a pandemic and you don't have a tracing system. How can you determine the infection rate? How can you determine the infection rate? They don't even have, even the testing centers are not working properly. And literally, it's all in the combos. Not even the combos, it's the Greater Banjul area. Where is the money gone? Why didn't they call for help in the right time? Why didn't they spend money where they should have spent money to keep people in the, literally, they took the money and their incompetence and politicized the system. The director of medical services saying that 2 tents are erected and they are going to take 100 patients. And we have seen where the tents are erected. The environment is not fit for purpose. It's not only about the rents. How long would they take them to electrify that area and to bring the water supply? It does not make sense. It's a complete failure, and it's unfortunate that it's the only institution standing up and asking for accountability is the civil society and the average Gambian. But our leadership have all gone into hibernation again. And it's not only Adam Barrow. This country is going into a free fall. And this pandemic, the medical part of it is one thing. And the economy is will be next. How are we going to survive this? The government is not telling us. Where's the Minister of Health, Finance? We don't even know. We don't even know what the condition of this government is. And we don't have the alternative standing up to tell us where the country will be taken. But civil society is standing to do things. Just imagine the ambulances board still are not in operation. What a waste. Because they never thought about that the ambulances need people with the capacity to control them. What have these people done right? They don't even have a number. Even the number for people to report is gone. They cannot even put that infrastructure together. And they have months to do that.
Yeah, Ben, just to interject, you mentioned about the ambulance. I think Gambians need to know those ambulances. We don't have trained personnel that can man those ambulances, because the airway system you see in those is not even in the syllabus of our nurses, much more our drivers, because these are manned by only drivers. So most of the equipment in those ambulances are going to be lying there guarding us, unfortunately. It's just
Ahmad,
a terrible
Ahmad, is that not incompetence? It's that not incompetence. How can you procure an equipment and you don't think about the people using the equipment? And the amount of money, $10 million spent on those ambulances. What's the point of that? That could have been spent in many critical areas. The telephone number, even to have a telephone number of people, but they can't do that. They fell in on every aspect because every area was an opportunity for them to steal the money. The Director of Medical Services was objecting on Peter Gomez asking him, when the international experts were predicting, and you, Ahmad, you've been predicting this, saying that it's going to peak around this time, as if they never knew. No, they never care. They never care, and until Gambians, hold this government accountable to make sure this government is out of that system, we are running into bigger problems. And I would predict things. I'm going to put my prediction here. If we continue this way, that government is not going to last to December, and it's going to cause the country to destabilize. Something have to give. The same way I predicted about Mali, and it came out. Something have to give. It's common sense. It's common sense. You cannot have a government that does not care, and everything's going on free fall. Civil society cannot do it. Civil society are there to complement. Just imagine the case of Red Cross. Red Cross are still in need of assistance and everything else that need to collaborate. The Red Cross asked for those ambulances because they had the personnel to use them. No, they don't want to give it to the Red Cross. Now, the Red Cross giving us services that no other critical sector is doing. Without the Red Cross, what would have been done? But absolutely no. The protection that the Red Cross officers need, the empowerment they need, this government doesn't care. Because they don't care about people. And it's unfortunate that our alternative leaders are not stepping on, into this vacuum, and a vacuum is created in that country, Ahmad.
Yeah, thank you very Ben once again, Anna. You say we pray your prediction does not come to pass, and unfortunately, Ben is acquainted with these issues. Most of them come to pass. Unfortunately, he had to be vindicated. But the way things are going, something have to give. Unfortunately, the case of Ben Red Cross, crossing to the other side, not bank, with dead people. This last week alone, no, I said this week, because today is Thursday. There are 2 incidences where they come, they're not been prioritized, and they have to wait, with dead body, with them who is COVID positive. I think, Ben, again, that's down to incompetence you alluded to, but what are the implications of this to the general public?
Ahmad, still we're talking about the incompetence, because if the government had planned, they would, when you plan for emergency, you ask, what if this happened? You think about the worst case scenario and have a plan for that worst case scenario. Why should the Red Cross be crossing to Barra to deal with dead bodies? The government should have thought about that. The health ministry should have thought about that. Why should they wait to the 11th hour when bodies are piling in the mortuary, and they think of, and civil society having to jump on to try and get them refrigerator containers? All these things should have been part of the contingency plan. These people have no escalation plan. They have no upscaling plan. And if even the instances that the institutions had to work together, I think that should have been part of the plan. What would have happened if we need to move from point A to B? How are we going to deal with this? You see, this is the problem I highlighted the other day. Instead of using the military to prepare themselves for help in this condition. The military is still in barracks, and they're playing politics with the military. Where on earth? Every country we have seen their service personnel active in helping out. Not seeing the service personnel going out there to bully or going there to enforce curfews. No, literally giving service, which is essential, and that is part of their mandate. It's part of what the Constitution stated that they should be doing when there is a national emergency. But the armed forces doesn't have a role at all. It's just, I mean, I cannot. The country. It's not. I cannot even use the word a crossroad. It's just a free fall, because when we have to wait for when we have to call out the president to come and address, and we literally have to drag him out, and he comes out, and recorded tapes been put together, and when we have, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and that's why I said something we'll have to give. We cannot continue like this. You know, people are not talking about the cost of living right now. Everybody is so scared that if they don't even talk about cost of living, everything is getting more expensive every other day. And there's nothing that this government does. Where is the stimulus for the economy? How can you run an economy and you have no mechanism in place to help boost the economy when things are going down? If you look at every aspect, every sector in the country, there's no one sector, Ahmad, you will look at and say, at least something is given here. And the worst of all, we have not heard from the alternative. Ahmad, what would it take for the parliament to see the urgency of coming back to parliament? Everything promised to them when the government came for the money is proven that they have not used the money where they should have. Don't we expect to hear from them? Don't we expect to hear from the finance minister tell us the state of the Gambian economy? Ahmad, have you had any report about our state of our economy? Have you heard from government telling you what has been done in order to help out? Do we, all these sectors affected, have we seen any stimulus to those part of the economy? And
yeah, except that President Barrow, in his last Voice the Nation, he said they put robust measures in place, without going into details, to make sure that
it's just nonsense. It was just nonsense. Yeah. Robust means what? Can he point to anything robust? You see, they don't understand how this, how the economy works, how people interdepend, how sectors depend on each other. Now, imagine the tourism. We are in August. We have a month to go for tourism, and tourism is completely gone. And we are not talking about this year, but now the effect of this COVID might last a decade if we are not careful on our economy and tourism. And the worst is, Ahmad, as I said, if we are not careful, the country will be destabilized, because of this cannot be sustainable. You cannot just have a country that goes and people do what they like or want, and without any repercussion to that. Something will happen.
To that effect, Anna Bodnar put some questions. But before that, Sulbam said, changing Ganifing into COVID-19 treatment center is a big mistake and failure to this government. Sulbam, we can't agree more with you on that. It's a big mistake, because we are right in the middle of malaria season and other ailments as well. So changing an entire hospital to COVID treatment center is going to deny people with other illness who will find difficulty traveling to Banjul. Banjul also we know is infected with COVID. But this had Anna Bodna have a question for you, Ben. He said, how do we hold the government to account? And do we need to take to the streets? Can we afford to wait for more deaths before we force the government to get the help which they desperately needed?
Ahmad, that's why I keep on saying the people representative. It had to start from the people representative. Ahmad, just can you imagine that the civil society organization with made the demand for the president to come out and speak, and the president had to be dragged to come out and speak. But we all know it was not satisfactory. The civil society organization wrote to MPs asking them for Parliament to convene. They are literally, we are literally doing everything possible to drag these people to Parliament. Where have you seen this? Why? Who are they representing? Are they representing political parties or are they representing people? And I bet if their political party leaders have called up for a meeting, they will all turn up. But the people are literally, we cannot understand it. You have not heard from your government. What you have told have not come to be realized. Billions have been given out. How can they hold the government accountable if they don't come to Parliament and invite the this to know? And the absence of information. This is what might cause people to be desperate to come out. And in a pandemic, it will get to a level people will disregard the risk and they will have to come out because of it's matter of survival. It's matter of survival.
Yes, a short question, from me. We have seen political parties emblazon their party insignia on face mask. That's my take. Do you think this is the right thing to do? Because I think we now are faced with a common enemy. I think there's a perfect opportunity for us to put partisan politics aside and call us together and fight the common enemy. But I've seen it's like everybody's taking a party. What's your take on this before we go to the issue that's in Mali?
Ahmad is completely wrong and not smart. Ahmad, I don't get why Gambian political parties don't get this. Political parties should try to expand their base. Political parties should not aspire to hold onto their base. Now, how do you expand your base? Is try to talk to people who are not within your base to try to get them, to come and join you. Ahmad, if I start to use my address and start to address my party all the time, I am not talking to the nation. I am talking to my party, and those people are already converted. What's the point of doing that? In business, you have a strategy. In business, you have a strategy to maintain your customers, but in business, you have a strategy to pull in new customers. And you always measure how successful your business is on how many new customers you brought in and how many old customers you have maintained. Because of those new customers will bring other customers. If you realize that your business is not bringing in new customers, what is that telling you? Your business is not expanding. And I believe this COVID should have been politicized, but not politicized in this sense of using your party colors to issue as masks or putting your party insignia to give out masks. That is for corporate businesses to do. That is for corporate businesses to do. Because this is the same thing Yahya Jammeh was doing. Everything, he does have to have his face on it. It have to be green, or he have to have Yahya Jammeh on it. What are you doing different? What do I mean that it has to be politicized? They should have used every structure in their party to engage the Gambian people, not to engage their base, the Gambian people on COVID. Every message today should have been on COVID, but at the same time, whilst you doing that, you are engaging your grassroots, but at the same time, you are reaching out to people that would have never have listened to you or they ever had interaction to you. It's an opportunity to have that interaction. Because of what you're talking about, it's not about your party, but you are talking about your common concern. And you should have been out there. I've not had any political party come out there to give us solutions. What should we do to control or manage the situation? I have not heard of any political party come out to tell us how the economy is going to be run. I have never had any of the political party come out to hold Barrow accountable, or political party asking their parliamentarians to write to the clerk to make sure parliament is convened. This is the issue we have. It's completely wrong to politicize this issue, and it should have been done in a different manner, politicized in a different manner. But it's completely wrong, and this is the reason you see the tension that is coming out. From it, it's not right at all.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. We have 27 minutes to talk about the main topic. That's the situation in Mali, which might have some implications in the Gambia. I'm not sure if you observe, but this one issue, I don't have, I cannot say anything because I think Africans, we are caught. We are being used as political pawn or political football between the dictators and the military. When the military play with us, they pass it to the dictators. Dictators, when they are tired, the military will go after them and take the ball and play. But situation in the Mali, you've been commenting on it, that it might end up like this, and that's what we have. What do you think are the far-reaching implications, not only for Gambia, but the rest of West Africa, especially?
And it's going to be very, very, very scary because, okay, let me start from somewhere here. Let's ask ourselves, was the change for good? Do we think that the military are going to do anything better? Are they going to improve the economy? Are they going to improve the security situation? No. Ahmad, I will give you my prediction. Give it few days. Within 100 days, you will hear the military itself fighting among themselves. Yesterday, I gave a prediction. They could not decide. When they came out yesterday, you can tell they cannot even decide who was the natural leader. There was no natural leader. Today, they produce a leader, and I don't think he has what it takes to lead the country or lead the junta. They are all watching behind their backs. Now they are not concentrating in governing the country, but they are concentrated in sustaining themselves. That's what coup d'etat does. It takes time to entrench yourself because the fear is within. The fear is within the military of counter coup. You cannot coup d'etat a country during the emergency times. No. What the one thing the military could have done is to make sure to pave way for the politician and civil society to get to the national discourse and decide on an interim government. No single soldier should have served in the position of executive. No single soldier have the right or given the responsibility to serve as a politician. It's completely wrong. But Ahmad, what led to the coup? It's the army. Army did not create the coup. No, the politician created the coup. Ahmad, something have to give. You cannot say that you have the democracy and you're not practicing democracy. What you telling people that? You are just creating chaos. and it has to be settled. How do we settle chaos in this manner? The people that have the power, it's not natural justice. People have power, will use the power to settle things up. That's why the army is always the institution that comes to settle things up. But when they come to settle things up, 99.9%, they mess things up more, because they are not equipped to do that. This is not their responsibility to do that. How can we have the president insisting on governing that country when naturally the north part of Mali is not even being governed by the Malian government? It's literally run by the United Nations. The western part of the country is literally run by donor agencies. Literally, country is run by donor agencies. And if I hear the conspirators saying that the amount of gold coming out of Mali, it's just a joke. I've seen them showing gold blatings, saying that it's been dug from Mali. They don't even know what process gold have to go to in order to come as a blating. You see, we have to move away from conspiracy and talk about the facts. The problem in Mali is bad governance. It's not the military, it's bad governance. If the military have acted this way because of the politicians have not done the right thing. The politicians are the boss, and if they go on right, no soldier dare try to test the power of the people. When politicians manipulate the power invested on them because of they think that they can manipulate the situation, they are creating chaos. Something have to give. Where democracy thrives, there can be coup d'etat. Look at the example in countries that we have democracy. You don't hear a coup d'etat because you have institutions responsible for everything. In the absence of institutions and oversight body doing their job, things is free for all. And in a country where things are free for all, something has to give. This is the situation we have in Mali. Now, the reality in Mali today, you have insurgency in the north, still not stabilized. You have insurgency in the west and the east, in Burkina Faso, in part of Côte d'Ivoire. The army should be engaged in that. The government should be engaged in that. But the government went to steal the elections. Why do you want to steal elections? Why would anybody want to force themselves onto people? Why would anybody want to force themselves onto people if you are there to serve the people? No. The reason all the people that force themselves to people are people who are not there to serve the people. When Malians were suffering, we saw a video of the Malian president's sons, two of them, on a yacht enjoying the $1 million when the Malian people are suffering. You think if he was a responsible president, that would have happened? No. They are into power for themselves and their family and don't care about the people. These are the people that destabilizes the thing. And again, when they are in those positions, they messed up the institutions. Even the army and security forces, it was the same army. That's why I tell people to be very careful. It was the same army that were brutalizing the protesters a few weeks ago, and 12 people were shot at point blank range. It's the same army. It's not another army. How do we expect those people to protect the protesters or protect the people? What do they have? What are they equipped with to run a country? What experience do they have to run a country? Now, who is going to run the army? If all the positions they have, and when you have coup d'etat, what will happen? Sense of entitlement will happen. People will say that we took out the government, we have to be rewarded. This will destabilize the security. The other issue is the military would not trust each other. They will start to be checking each other and be paranoid, and next minute they will be arresting each other or eliminating each other in order to entrench themselves. Whilst all these things is going, the Malian economy suffers more, the insurgency becomes more powerful. You don't have a business to do that. And they are not going to bring the people together. Mali, the center part of Mali, have an ethnic problem right now. The Fulani and the other communities. All these things cannot be addressed by the soldiers. The soldiers have no place to do that. It's completely wrong. People celebrating this, why do they have to be in government? If you said that you came to save the people, get the country back to the civilians. Let them sort it out. But that's not the interest here. And I will tell you, if the Malian military continue to govern, the country will get into a civil war soon, because it will empower the insurgency, and the country will be crippled. The country will be crippled. Already, if the international community would not support the democratization this thing, and make demands for these people to go, that country will be destabilized. And if Mali is destabilized, Gambia and every other country around West Africa is at risk. Is at risk. The other issue here, if you had, the export trade for Gambia, we do have an export trade to Mali, and now it's already affected because of COVID. You see, all the situations, stability from our neighboring countries is stability for us. That's why it's quite important. But not only that. You see, when it started in Liberia, Sierra Leone, next minute where it came to Gambia, because of people study from their neighbors. People study from their neighbors. I'm not saying that the army in the Gambia are going to do that, but there's a risk that something like this could happen in the Gambia because of the same factors that are in Mali, that the factors in the Gambia. The only difference is Mali have an insurgency. Gambia doesn't have an insurgency. Mali have an insurgency all around. But the poor governance, and we have seen Barrow trying to steal the elections before elections. Still concentrated, trying to steal the election. The guy is unpopular. The guy is not in control. The corruption is endemic. Services are not being given to people. Water and electricity cannot be stabilized. What do you have for the people? What services do you give to the people? And we expect things to be peaceful? No. And Ahmad, it's the same thing here. Gambians would say, oh, coup d'etat now would not happen in West Africa. It does happen. And I said that before. If West African countries or African countries would be hypocrites to allow Guinea-Conakry to change their constitution, and continue to brutalize their people, to allow Ivory Coast to do the same thing, and Senegal thinking about it, what's not going to happen in Senegal? I'll tell you, Macky Sall would not pull that off in Senegal. He would try something else. He would try something else, but he would not pull that in Senegal. But every other African country have moved away from the two-term. Every other African country is moving away from the two-term. Rwanda moved away from the two-term. Uganda moved away from the two-term. Now, you expect democracy to strive when democracy has been undermined. Why would people want to entrench themselves? Why do you think that you are the only person to serve a country? This is the problem we have. We cannot expect to behave anyhow we want and have order in the system. But as we said, the army doesn't have any right. But again, if you give them a cause, if you keep the people, people unaware, that's why people celebrate for coup d'etats. When people celebrate, they think, they believe they'll be better off because they don't have hope in what they had. If the people were living in a better condition, You think a soldier would be mad enough to try it on? What are you going to try on? What's going to be your excuse? What's going to be your excuse? What are you going to offer the people? It will not have happened. It's common sense. If we want to advocate to say no to coup d'etats, we have to be realistic. We have to advocate for good governance. We have to advocate for accountability. We cannot stand to see this amount of corruption. Right now, people should have been making body bags or coffins, taking it to State House, at the doors of State House, to agitate the president to come out, to resign. Orderly. If you don't do it orderly, chaos will ensue. The Constitution provided provision where the president can be impeached if he's incompetent, impeached if he's corrupt, impeached if he's done anything wrong. And the president has been lying to us. The president is corrupt. The president is incompetent. The entire government is corrupt. The entire government is incompetent. You know, people are not thinking about schools opening again. You think this government is ready for schools to open? Did the Minister of Education come out to show us a strategy to put in place for schools to open? No. Again, we are going to wait to school to open. Now we're starting to say, how are we going to do this? What sort of country is this? What sort of country is this? But if you don't have an alternative standing up to ask the right questions, you see, and that should have to be a credible alternative. When I saw my Fati coming out, he's saying the right things, but it cannot resonate. Because it cannot resonate because they know that he does not mean what he's saying. Because he had the opportunity, he has not. Probably he'll be worse, in fact, because of he might be a little bit smarter than Adam Barrow. Everything he's been talking about, golden lead and all these issues, yes, these are the things we want to hear. But the guy doesn't have the credibility to say this. The guy lacks integrity himself. That's why we expect our politicians, our leaders for that matter, to be people with integrity, people with competence. And Gambians have to be very careful. We managed with Adama Barrow until COVID come in here. Now, I am not talking about Adama Barrow. My future, Adama Barrow is not in it. If Gambians keep their future with Adama Barrow, that's their right to do so. But there's a business to do so. But I'm saying this. Even my thinking, I cannot see myself to be thinking about Adama Barrow staying any day. I cannot think like that. That's very digressive. That's why I want that outrage to be in Gambians. To be having the audacity to think of the leaders they can have in position, not to accept this sort of leadership. What do you expect Adama Barrow to do to take us from here? What do you expect this government to do to take us from here? The amount of corruption in this country would wreck the country. Every country, and all the country that's been destabilized, corruption, it's behind it. But in the Gambia, it's not only corruption, it's incompetence as well. The worst of it. That's what we have.
Ben, don't you think the ECOWAS have been cut pants down or double standard when they failed, all these years to make sure that two-term limits, is a law across the board, rather than keep condemning the military, go back to the barracks. But there are mechanisms if we put in place that we can curtail. Don't you think that they are being hypocritical? And we have 10 minutes. I'm going to give you the second question. That's do you think France have a hand in this coup? And if so, what do you think we can do, to get France out of Africa?
African have to. Let me start from France. Ahmad,
yeah,
we don't need to get France completely out of Africa. If it's not France, another country is there. And the worst of it, why do we have China in Africa? They're not better than France. Do you know India is in Africa? They're not better than France. Do you know Turkey is in Africa? They're not better than France. Do you know Belgium is in Africa? They're not better than France. You know the English are in Africa. They're not better than France. Sovereign countries should look after their interests. Until we have leaders that would put our national interest, as the interest of the people, as the national interest, we will always have people to interfere. We will always have people to interfere. The only reason they have this thing because of we elect leaders who are corrupt, leaders here who are incompetent. These are the problems we have. Yes, if this junta stayed on 100 days, then accept that France is behind it. If France don't want this junta to be there, the junta wouldn't be there. And I'll give you proof. I'll give you the proof here. I think it's 2001. No, 2012. Sanogo, one of the captains, overthrew Tumani Ture. He overthrew him. And it was the kind of a situation just ramped and took the government. No bloodshed. But because of the international community, or France for that matter, did not want him to be there, he had to give up power. They put sanctions that you cannot. Mali is a landlocked country. Mali is one of the poorest countries in Africa. Mali depends on aid like nobody's business. And Mali, currency have guaranteed with France. Their banking system, everything is intertwined with France. If they threaten sanctions, the regime doesn't have a chance. The regime doesn't have a chance. We don't have Gaddafi anymore to prop up any country, and there are no other countries that will prop up Mali. The Russians will not do it, and the Chinese will not do it. They will have to give up because the Chinese cannot do it. Even the Russians cannot do it because of the entire boundaries of Mali are influenced by France. Be it Senegal, be it Ivory Coast, be it Burkina Faso is all influenced by France. What chance do they have? Nothing. The reason France might have done this, it's to stop the leader of the movement, Mr. Diko. And again, this is an example for Gambia. We are not talking about the opposition in Mali because the opposition have been discredited. The opposition become accomplished and become the part of the establishment. Now it was civil society that came out, and a charismatic leader and a radical, and a smart radical for that matter, who is very measured on the statement he makes. But people that really know that he's radical, and if he influences, and he's very smart, he have never shown interest that he want to lead the country, because that would be nearly impossible. But he knows that he can influence. All he wants is to influence a government. Probably that's the reason. But we have to wait to see the 100 days. What's going to happen in 100 days? If the international community did not push these people out, that means that France is the one stopping them from doing that. And that's why I suspect France have a hand in this. Until it's proven contrary, I will believe that because of they are strategic partners with that government. And it's unfortunate that we are still looking at foreign countries as our guarantors of peace, foreign countries as our guarantors of our economy, foreign countries as a guarantor of our security. It's just ridiculous because of the bad leaders we have. If we take care of our businesses properly, that's the only time we can talk about other countries not being with us. They influence us in many ways. they influence us is in many ways because of we depend, because we don't try to be I mean, economically independent. We don't look at the ECOWAS they're talking about. I mean, what have they achieved? I mean, so far it's been a talking shop. As you said, they don't care about democracy. They don't care about just social justice. Now, even for the economy, what have they? Do you know how difficult it is to trade within West Africa, with all the protocols they're talking about? Even to move within West Africa, how difficult it is. And how do we expect to this? And most of these countries are completely dependent. You know, when Gambian Africans talk about the African Development Bank, the largest shares in the African Development Bank is owned by Europeans and America. Do Africans realize that? With all the wealth we have, we don't have a sovereign, I mean, continent sovereign fund. With all the wealth we have, our countries don't have sovereign funds. Even the oil-rich countries don't have sovereign funds, because of the sovereign funds are personal funds. They turn all to personal funds. Look at Nigeria. The minute oil prices dip down, they are in trouble. They cannot even diversify their economy. Look at Equatorial Guinea. They are in mess right now because of the oil price. Look at Gabon. There's no African country that can, that will call for an economic independence. And why? Because of the personal interest is more, taken more seriously than the national interest. Right now in the Gambia, just look at what is happening in the Gambia. The amount of money taken out from that country to be shipped to Senegal, only God knows. You think the Senegalese authorities don't know that? You think the Senegalese authorities are not aware that the people coming there to buy properties, buying business, are all stealing the money from the Gambia? But for them, this is this is their interest. That the Senegalese economy has been liquidized by Gambian people. Until we look after our interests, we cannot blame other people. There's no point blaming France or any other country. If we can compete with them in our job places, if we can compete with them in any other sector, why can't we do things for ourselves? Until we take ourselves seriously, nobody will do. And I hope that this generation would start to do that. But if we're going to have a president like Adama Barrow, you expect that country to take itself seriously? If we are to have an opposition as we have now, the leadership as we have now, you think that country will move on? It's a matter of replacing Adama Barrow with another Adama Barrow. It's not about the person that governs, it's what they govern with. What have they got for? Nobody's telling us the solutions. And I would say none of them, for that matter. Everything they're talking about is inadequate. It's not addressing the problems. As if we are looking at a different country. The urgency of that country now is to fight the COVID. The urgency of that country now is to try to revive that economy. And who is doing that? They all have plans for when they take government. None of them have plans for now, but plans for when they take government is not even clear. For some of them that said they have a plan, the plan is not even clear. Because they are still doing the politics of approaching the Gambian economy, Gambian governance, in a sense as it was the governance we have 30 years ago. They are not transformative. They don't see the country where it can be. No, they are seeing the country where it is now and how they're going to maintain this or to say to rescue this. It's as they don't have a vision to see the country for what it can be. That's why none of them have an audacity to give you projections to tell you, actually, if we are bold enough to take these decisions, this is the outcome. They tell you if we are bold enough. But we cannot do that The problems we have Gambia today, it cannot be solved by a political party. We have to be realistic. Gambians have to find a way to come together and find a government that's fit for purpose and to fix a transitional administration to take us out of this. To go into elections, elections is not only what democracy is about. And democracy, it's to make sure we have that security, that peace and stability so that we can progress. It's not just measured by the resemblance of institutions and processes that would just give an outcome of the same. We have to try to do differently. We have to ask ourselves, how come we are still here? Because we do the same thing and expect a different outcome. Why do you think Adam Barrow have the audacity thinking that he can go and print ID cards or issue ID cards to this? And yes, because he knows that nobody holds him accountable. If he knew that people have hold him accountable, or any agent sent to be doing that would be prosecuted. No. Because of, just look at the case of Golden Whoop. It just tells you the kind of government we have, or the country we have. Until we take things seriously, change is not going to be, and so, and change is not only the personalities in it, but it's the system that will give Gambians what they deserve. Ahmed.
Thank you very much, Ben. We've come to the end of another edition of Straight Talk with Sulayman Ben Suwareh. Again, we are grateful, Gambia TV Online, and I believe our viewers also are grateful, for your valuable time. Simaya Barrow wrote, is that we cannot just table the problems and not put forward solutions. This is what we are doing here. Exactly. Yeah. We are talking about problems, and possible solution is left to the Gambian. We are trying to educate. We believe if education or the information got to that critical mass, something will happen. Gambia needs to get up and do something. Unfortunately, as Ben said, towards the end, that we might be replacing Adam Barrow with another Adam Barrow. Somebody sent in our forum, one of these forums, that America is saying Gambia is not physically transparent. I said to the guy, but why do we have to wait for the Americans to inform us that we are not physically transparent? What are our opposition doing? They should have this in their fingertips. These are the kind of information or data they should use to hold the government accountable. But what are they doing? You trying to replace a corrupt and inept government. We don't know what's even going. You go in there and find that there is actually nothing there. Then you start taking excuse for another 5 years. We came in, everything is broken. Like, Jamie, that's what Adam Barrow and his colony is doing.
Ahmed, I want to say something here.
Yeah.
Right now, where we are in Gambia, there's no point giving out solutions. The only solution for Gambia is to get a leadership. Ahmed, how many Gambians have been trying to do something and they cannot do it? How can you, what's that solution? Who is going to deal with it? Solutions are to be acted on. It's not to be said. Solutions are to be engaged. But you have to have a leadership that cares. How many times we talk about solutions of how to manage our resources, the fiscal resources, and the amount of corruption in there. Ahmed, how many times did we call out the Banyan project before the Banyan project became a problem?
Yeah,
did we hear any politicians? But no, politicians were celebrating the Banyan project until it became a problem. We saw it, that it's not done right. We called it out and we gave the solution. It should not be been done like this. Until we have the leadership, but the diaspora have done more than giving solutions. The diasporas have gone on the ground, try to do something. Go and ask the diasporans on the ground right now, or the people have ventured. You always have to run out back again because you tried everything. We cannot blame ourselves for this. The one thing we blame ourselves is, why are we not working on solutions to bring about the change? My emphasis, and as you know, I am not a person who just talk and retire and go back to bed. My emphasis, the amount of time I spend on radio talking, it's just a minute. It's just that much of my time. Every other time I am looking at practical solutions and putting them on the things. But that's so much we can do. That's so much we can do. Most cases we are just limiting the damage. But we are trying all this to win confidence in order to influence. And this is the only hope I have, because I know it's doable. I know we have the people to do it. Then we have to continue going. When people ask me, what inspires you? How comes you keep on going? What else would I do? What else would I do? What is more than, fighting to change something for better? What is more than that? Until someone can show me something more than that, I'll tell you, it's the best thing one can do. Whether you achieve it or not, you have a satisfaction that you have tried. And we will keep on trying. We will keep on trying. But if we are not quick in changing things, things will go south.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I hope you will not be vindicated again. But Gambia need a quick solution to the dire situation we are. And as you know, we start this conversation with COVID. COVID is a serious national emergency now. And I appeal to all of you who are watching this program to share this information that right now, currently, over 40,000 Gambian could be infected with COVID. And that's not an exaggeration. Because could you imagine, past 24 hours, 113 new cases, but none of those people's contact were traced. If you know the importance of contact tracing, because COVID is an illness that you can be walking around with it for 14 days before you even start showing symptoms. And during that time, you can transmit the infection to other people. So we are in a serious problem. The country is overwhelmed. We don't have solutions. And the whole world where we can start to seek help, they are also overwhelmed. They are trying to build their economies, those who are recovering. So we are on our own. So government failed us, definitely. Now let us not fail ourselves. I appeal to you to please stay at home as much as possible. But if you need to go out, please put on that face mask. And face mask, let me tell you, is not protective. If somebody without a face mask speaks in front of you, it can infect you. What face mask does is stop you from infecting people. Yeah, like I am talking now. If there is a face mask, the aerosol coming from my mouth will stay with me. I cannot infect another people. So that's why if 85% of the population wear face mask in public spaces, we don't even need to close the public spaces anymore. And still, regular hand washing is still relevant. It's probably more important than even the face masks. Anytime you go into your house, before you speak to the family, before you touch your kids, go to the shower and wash your hands thoroughly with soap, at least for 40 seconds. If you don't have that, use alcohol-based hand rub. This is the message I have, and I challenge all of you right now, 32 people watching this. Please go and tell this information to 5 people and challenge those 5 people also to go and speak to another 5 people. That's 25 by 32 people. Thank you all once again, and thank you, Vance, for your time. We can go for another 2 hours, but we are back here again next week, and inshallah tomorrow I will come here. I will present how the WHO guidelines they put in place, the religious origins of those guidelines. I'll discuss, because everything in Gambia is about religion and culture. But these WHO guidelines have their roots in our Islamic traditions. We need to highlight those. And these are some of the things our imam should be talking about right now. Thank you all. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Then, inshallah, next week.
Okay, thank you.
blessing.